If you had to get to $5,000 a month in passive income and you only got 20 grand to start with, how do you do it? And let's put one more constraint on it. What if you only had a year to get there? That's what we're talking about today. Cam Cathcart is my partner in crime today. What's up, Cam?
What is up?
Man, I like this topic. I love the constraint of this kind of a thought experiment.
Dude, when you put constraints on things, your brain works so much differently and creatively.
Yeah, it's like, what's that book, 10X is easier than 2X from Ben Hardy and Dan Sullivan? That's the idea. It's like 10X, you just think differently. You're thinking laterally, not like linearly. Anyway, and we're going to talk about that today. So, hey, if you like videos like this, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and all that. But most importantly, go take action on this stuff. Like, I know we're talking about like almost a theoretical, but the reality is I'm really doing the stuff we're going to talk about today. Cam's really doing the stuff we're talking about today. And so you can do this as well. I mean, look, if Cam Cathcart can do it,
anybody can do it. Believe me,
do it.
There's no doubt about it. We're going to talk about Airbnb and rent by the room.
And why do we choose those? Why did you, because we both had the exact same ideas on which ones we try to make $5 grand a month from. Why those two?
So I think those two are the ones that you can scale to $5,000 a month really quickly in. You know, for me, it's not my preferred strategy. Mine is just long-term rental properties.
Yeah.
But that's going to take you a long time to scale to $5,000 a month.
Yes. Because every rental gives you a couple $100 in cash flow? Like,
if that right now. Yeah. Right now I'm buying things that are breaking even. Yeah. And I'm just playing the long-term appreciation game and paying down my loan. First of all, I want to make it clear that I do not do rent by the room. I love the strategy, but everything that I'm saying is just things that I've talked to other people that are absolutely crushing it in this particular niche. Yeah. The number one thing is it doesn't work in every market. And the reason for that is I've looked in St. Louis. The reason I don't do it is because in St. Louis, you can rent a studio apartment for $700, $800 a month.
Yeah, and so why would you rent a bedroom for $700 or $800 a month?
Exactly.
When you can do a studio?
But if you live in a market like Denver, Austin, some of those more expensive markets where you can't get a studio for less than $2,000 a month, of course you're going to go rent a bedroom. Not of course, but potentially you'll go rent a bedroom for $1,000 a month.
A lot of people might be wondering, what does any of this matter? I've got 20 grand. You put that requirement of 20 grand in here. So we're going to come back to that in just a minute. So please hang tight. Before we do, I want to give you an example of how this could actually work. Let's start with the vacation rental. Let's just say you buy a vacation rental in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and you pay $500,000 for it. The hope is, again, most people understand how this works. The hope is that you can rent it out 20, 25 nights a month and be able to get a whole lot more income than what you spend in expenses. And there are a lot of expenses. You're in charge of the water, the sewer, the garbage, electricity, the pool maintenance or the hot tub maintenance. You're in charge of all that stuff. And therefore, you got to make sure you buy the right property, and the math really, really matters. At the end of the day, if you're bringing in $10,000 a month in income and your expenses are $8,000 a month, and all expenses all in, that's $2,000 a month from one property that you could bring in. And those are real, like that's a real possibility for numbers. Like that actually works that way. Now let's talk pad split real quick, or, rent by the room. So let's say you buy that rent by the room. And again, you buy the 5-bedroom house, but it's got a dining room. You don't need a dining room. It's got a garage. You can convert that to 2 more rooms. And it's got a downstairs den area. You convert that to 2 bedrooms. And now you're at, I don't know, I don't do math, but let's call it 9 bedrooms. Each of those bedrooms rents for anywhere between $700 and $1,000 a month, depending on how big it is and if it has its own bathroom. So let's just average it out to you're making $800 per month per bedroom. 800 times 9 is what, that $7,200? $7,200 a month of rent. Now, what would that house as a 5-bedroom in that market, what would it rent for? $2,000 a month?
Yeah.
Maybe $3,000 if in a really hot market. So you're talking 2 to 3 times more rent coming in. Now, yes, you got to pay water, sewer, garbage, electricity, same thing. Probably going to supply internet for everybody. Maybe you got to furnish it. People have different ideas on that. But
more work too.
It's more work.
Yeah, I think for both of these, it's more work.
Yeah, on average, pad splits say that people stay for 8 months. So you're not getting tenants that are staying for 5 years, most likely. There's a little bit more turnover. So you got to work those numbers into your math. But if you do it right, you can make really good money. By the way, Cam and I are hosts of the Better Life podcast with Brandon Turner and Cam Cathcart. And every Friday, we have an episode that comes out called Cash Flow Friday. And we just interview somebody on one of these cash flow strategies. And so we've had guys come on to talk about rent by the room. We've had people come on to talk about short-term rentals. So you can hear all the tips and tricks on how to actually do this on that podcast. Today is not really designed to give you everything you need to know about those strategies. But now we should probably talk about the money thing.
Let's talk about the money, because that's important.
It is important.
Because people are sitting there with like, I've only got $20,000. So how do I do it?
Okay, 20 grand. What do you do?
So my favorite strategy would be, and again, you probably still have to have a hard money lender and a private money lender lined up, but what I would call the Airbnb or the Burr split. I don't know if we're making up names for them, but
Rent by the broom.
Yeah, rent by
Rent by the broom.
So rent by the broom, where you're using your cash, a hard money lender, a private money lender to buy the house, to essentially take the garage, dining room, build it out to what you want. And then you're getting tenants in there and you're showing the income that it's bringing in. And then you're taking that to a company like you.
Like BetterLifeRef.com.
Like Better Life Ref saying, hey, I've got this property that's bringing in $8,000 a month. And you guys will actually run that as a commercial. Like
we look at it like it's a commercial property, and you're going to get a higher valuation because it's bringing in all that income.
And then you'll be able to refinance out. I'm assuming it's a DSCR loan. Yeah, and refinance out and recapture all of the cash that you have into it, and then go do it again. And then go do it again. You could easily do that 5 times in a year. And add $5,000 a month to your cash flow.
You could easily get there. The other way to do it, which is something I've done over and over and over 2,500 times, is I work with partners, private partners, people that I meet, connections I got, whether online and in real life. They invest with me, and then I go out and find the deal. And so I don't have to put my own money into it. I try to just because I like to, because it's good for optics of like, hey, I'm invested as well. You find somebody to bring the down payment and the rehab costs. So you're talking 30, 50, 100 grand, depending on, what market you're buying in. And then you bring the deal and you find the deal. You can put $0 in the deal. They bring the money and you split it 50-50. So now if you're going to go that route, you might say like, well, that's not $5,000 a month. Then I got to split it. Okay. Get $10,000 a month in cash flow, split it in half because your partners, you're going to raise money. Your partners are going to bring half. You're going to get half the profits. You're going to get the other half. But how fast could you scale to $10,000 a month if you had to put no money in of your own?
That's what Miller does. Miller was who we interviewed on Cash Flow Friday. You guys should go listen to that. But he just uses partners to come with the down payment and the rehab. And I don't know what their split is, but they're splitting the profits and doesn't have any of his money tied up into the deal. It's amazing.
And so what about the 20 grand? Well, the 20 grand, you're going to use that for marketing. Because ultimately, why would they partner with you? Why would somebody come and partner with you? It's because you have the deal. So how do you find incredible deals? Now, there are ways to do it without spending money, obviously. But if you want to spend the money like with a direct mail company, like I spend $5,000 a month right now in direct mail marketing. So we're sending out a bunch of letters and postcards trying to land some deals. You could do that. Or what's one of your strategies that you teach in like deal flow?
Here's my strategy. If I were going to go like the pad split route or the Airbnb route, I think you can find deals from connectors, being wholesalers, agents. Like I think the most important thing, and I know people are gonna be like, well, it's just because you have an education program, but I would spend a lot of that money on becoming the best in the world at what you're doing and go learn from the best people and get into programs. I mean, I was a part of a mastermind when I first started and it changed my life. It was $1,000 a month. It was really expensive. Did not have the money to pay for it, but it changed my life. And I think that's how you could go to an investor with confidence and say, hey, you know what? I just went through this program. I know everything there is to know about pad split. I know everything there is to know about short-term rentals. You partner with me, I will go hunt down the deals. I will find the deals. I will manage the property, rehab it how I need to rehab it, rent it how it needs to be rented. And all you have to do is bring the money. So that's another thing that I would do with that 20 grand. You don't even have to use it.
20 grand would get you a lot of steak dinners with a bunch of really good wholesalers in your area to network. We should talk real quickly about the legalities around rent by the room, because that's a big question that comes up is, well, how is that? Is that legal? Is that okay to do that? So here's my understanding of how this works. One, there are states that have, and cities that have laws on unrelated people living there. You can only have 6 unrelated people in this house or whatever the thing is. So a couple of things to be aware of. One, companies like Pad Split and others that are doing this, they have some, I don't call them loopholes, but ways that they justify getting around it and supposedly hold up in court really well. And that is, you're not renting to tenants, you're renting to a membership. You're renting to one LLC. So this, I believe how Pad Split does it, is all the members of the company that are renting the house, they are members of an LLC. There is one tenant. So therefore, you're within the law because it is one tenant that is living there. It's a LLC.
It's like a fraternity is the renter, and then everybody's paying their dues to the fraternity to be a part of that, and that gets them access to the house. Is the loophole around it.
If you are in an area where there is unrelated people and you don't feel like it's strong enough of a loophole to say, the membership and the LLC and all that, even though like I would just go through Pad Split, they got lawyers, they got all the people. There are states like Colorado just struck down all their unrelated people laws because they're all based. I've heard it's like based in, like there's a good argument. It's based in like racism and prostitution and all this stuff. Like this doesn't apply to us today, and we shouldn't be. So they're repealing those laws, city by city, state by state. It's moving in the right direction, but you could go into a state where it's already been repealed and you could work it there. You also got to be careful about parking. You want to make sure that you're not in an HOA that's going to forbid it, which almost every HOA would probably forbid it. So just avoid the HOAs.
But what I love about Pad Split is that it's doing something that Airbnb isn't. This is why I would lean towards Pad Split than Airbnb, is because Airbnb is solving the affordable housing crisis that we have right now. And so
Airbnb is making it worse.
Airbnb is making it, sorry, did I say that wrong?
You said solving it,
yeah. Pad Split is solving it. Airbnb is making it worse. So it's really easy for a politician to run and say, hey, I'm going to get rid of Airbnbs in the county. We've seen that happen all over because people are buying up Airbnbs, they're renting them out, they're sitting there empty, the people in the community can't live in them. It's for people traveling there, and it's making it way worse. Whereas Pad Split's saying the exact opposite. Hey, we're going to create affordable housing in this community so people can stay and live for cheap. And no politician is going to run on that saying, well, hey, I want this out of here. So I think that looking 5, 10, 20 years into the future, Pad Split is going to be a big deal.
That's all we got. Thank y'all. I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe, like, all that.